folks, I'm Paul Sampson here with DataDash, and in today's video I want to cover a specific tool, an indicator that I utilize pretty heavily from anything from the short-term time frame to my high time frame analysis that you'll see multiple other traders and analysts use very often as well. And what that is it's known as the Fibonacci Retracement tool. This is actually going to give us some key areas that we can look to when price has an impulse move either to the upside or the downside, where we could look for a reasonable area to see a retracement down to, and then we'll build context around those areas, whether or not that leads us to a continuation in the trend or potential reversals. And I want to really hit on one key area on the Fibonacci retracement known as the golden pocket, which is a retracement area of 61.8 to 65%. So I'm going to do a couple of examples of that here. As you can see here on Bitcoin, I've got a nice clean chart here. I want to focus here on this section of the chart right here, where we had a nice impulse move on Bitcoin from $40,000 in January of 2024 all the way up to $74,000 when we made that first peak last year, before we ranged sideways pretty heavily, got a nice little wick bounce down here to $49,000, $48,000 Bitcoin before we continued higher. Now, how could we have looked to this region as a big key area and had an idea before the price action got there, or at least a plan or a strategy when the price did get there and we saw the reaction we did here where we got a decent bounce? Well, this is where the Fibonacci retracement is going to come into play here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show a little example here. I already set this up with a certain setting to kind of break this down for you before we actually take a deeper dive into it. But if you come over to the left panel here, you're going to go down to the third box, and it's going to be under Fibonacci is the overall category here. And it's the very first one right here, Fibonacci retracement. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. In this example here, once again, I'm going to be taking a look at a certain section of the chart. I'm not looking at the overall price action. When I talk on the price, retracing to the 61.8 to 65%, that's not the actual price, pulling back 65%. We're pulling back 61 to 65% of a certain area. So for that example here, I'm going to go ahead and let's box this off. So I'm going to box this low to this high. This was our impulse move, and we're looking now at the price action of this. And if I was to be looking for potential areas of a retracement that I'd look to get involved in the market, we're looking at a move up here, and then we're potentially going to retrace this move here. And when breaking this down into just simple percentages, I'm going to go ahead and click on my Fibonacci. I have this set up currently to just show this example. But what I did here is now I'm looking at this as just a simple, starting at zero. If we were to retrace to the downside, this would be 25% of this price action getting retraced to. If we continued lower, this would be at the 0.5 area, right? The 0.5 Fibonacci would be right at the halfway mark. Going lower, you see the 75. I broke this down very simple, 25%, 50%, 75%. And if you had a full retrace of 100%, it would look something along those lines, right? That's if we were just going off of, simple 25% increments. Now we're going to come back to that Fibonacci now, and I'm going to go ahead and change the settings to what you'll see when you actually pull this up. And let's go ahead and we'll pull it from our swing low right here all the way up to that swing high. Now this is what the traditional Fibonacci tool is going to look like before you put any kind of settings or changes into it. I'm going to go ahead and clean us up a little bit by taking off that box I put on here. But now you'll see some of the key levels that you'll hear many traders and analysts talking on, right? So the 0.236, when we talked about this region, in simple 25% increments, we're looking now at the Fibonacci levels that we see the most common retracement areas on, as far as mathematics go, basically, right, and statistics. So here would be a retracement down to our 0.236, which is a pretty shallow retracement, definitely an area to be aware of. The 0.382 is a big one that I actually utilize really heavily. We've got the 0.5, so the 50% retracement, which we covered earlier, right? That's 50% of that overall impulse move up. And then the one I want to really highlight is this golden pocket. So it's 0.618 to 0.65. So once again, not a 65%, price action retracement, but it is 65% of that boxed area that we were looking at. Once again, we could look at this, on a high time frame like this. We can zoom into the lower time frame on some of the individual daily candles as well. It's very useful for us. And once again, if you were to just be looking at the price action blindly, you wouldn't really have an idea of what and where some of the key areas would be. So having this pulled up, readily available, being able to look at some of these key levels and be ready for them ahead of time is very key. So I really want to take a peek here at the golden pocket, as I stated. I'm gonna go ahead and change up these settings a little bit because for me, I like the chart as clean as possible. All right, so I do want to go ahead and highlight this. We're gonna go ahead and click on it here up top, or depending on where you go on the chart, it may be in a different location. There's a settings bar that's going to be along with all these other options. I'm gonna go ahead and click this, and if you'd like to copy these same settings, you're more than welcome to. I think it just makes things a little bit more cleaner. In here, you can see where we pulled the trend line is the first one I tend to turn off. So it's this one that just kind of shows the dotted line of where we're pulling it from. For me, I just like it to be a little cleaner there. You don't have to, but I'll turn that off right there. And then we scroll down here to the bottom. The background is where you're going to see all these really colorful areas. Once again, personal preference. I tend to turn them off here as well. The prices you can have showing up right there on off to the side if you'd like. I believe that maybe even defaulted. And then one of the other things that I like to do is actually take the labels. And when you start off, I believe they're going to be on the left, right? So for me, that just gets really jumbled when there's other price action here, and it kind of like, it muddies the chart, and if that makes sense. So I prefer them on the right side to where it's pretty much open chart most time. And that can be changed right here down. It says labels, and you can just switch them over to the right side. You can put them in the center if you like, I suppose, all kinds of things of that nature. And then here you can even come back up and click on and off which levels you want to even utilize and see often. You can save some of these as templates, which you can see I've made multiple down here. You could just start clicking off some of these, hit save as, and then just go back into them, and then you'll have a ton of them over here ready to go. So for me, I have one known as the golden pocket. I'm going to go ahead and click this on, and now it's nice, clean, and crisp. You'll see this on my charts very often, and one of the big things about the gold pocket area is that once again built on context around certain time frames, and what we'll be looking at, it's a key region that we look to for major support or resistance, potential reversals, and then continuation at times. So in this example, when looking for the golden pocket, looking at that, right, this was a really clean just impulse move to the upside. It took some time, but slowly, what did we do? We come on down right into that golden pocket support. Essentially, we pulled back 65% of this initial move, right? Coming back, high or low, and then we got the continuation to the upside. So in that example, that was a perfect, look at how we can look to the golden pocket Fibonacci retracement area when, trying to identify some key regions for support and then a continuation to the upside. In this next example, I'm going to showcase a time where Bitcoin actually took a fall. We had a retracement to the upside into a golden pocket, and then we continued the downtrend. So in this example, I'm taking a look at the all-time high that we put in at the time back in the summer of 2021 at $65,000 Bitcoin right here. And then that initiated a little sell-off down to $47,000. And at the time, what you would have been, wanting to look for here is a retracement, back up towards, once again, that gold pocket. So pro tip, you may notice that I have a couple of, key tools up here that you may not see on your charts at home. When you're going over here to the side panel and you click on, really anything over here that you maybe tend to use often, there's a little star over here, and you can add this to a favorites tab, which is basically what that is, a favorites toolbar. And then down here in the bottom left corner of your chart, you can just go ahead and click that on, click that off, and it's going to pull up all your favorites. So for me, I have the Fibonacci retracement up here in my favorites because I do use it very often. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this right here. We're going to come back now to our high back at that $65,000 back in the summer. I'm going to drag it on down to the swing low right here. And as you can see, where did the price action come up to? Came back up, got a rejection right from that golden pocket, the 61.8 to 65% area. If we were to just box off this, section of the chart here, looking at this in the sense of, a retracement back to the upside, which, 25, 50, 75, and 100% would have been all the way back here. You're talking about a retracement now of 61 to 65% of that certain area into a key resistance at the time, put in a lower high, and then that did trigger the continuation down at the time. In this next example, I'm going to take a look at Ethereum and the recent price action over the last few months, where we can see where we had, either an impulse move once again to the upside or to the downside that was met with a golden pocket retracement and then the reaction that followed after. When we look at the price action on Ethereum, it's no secret that we've been pretty range bound ever since March 2024 of last year, and this price action has just been chock full of golden pocket retracements. I was to pull a Fibonacci retracement at the time from this high to this low. I imagine that this is going to be a golden pocket retracement before the continuation lower. So let's take a look. Go ahead and grab our Fibonacci retracement tool, grabbing it there from the high, doing it down to the swing low. And we can see here that this was indeed a perfect retracement right up into this golden pocket area before the price action did continue lower. Once again, the context around the price action at the time is key. We saw yet again another high put in place here, a swing low right here, moved back up to the upside. I'm wondering if this was also a golden pocket retracement before we continued lower. So once again, let's grab our Fibonacci retracement. Let's drag it down to that swing low. And would you look at that? Once again, a swing to the low, a retracement right to that gold pocket, and then a continuation to the downside. Now, even in our current market status right now, at the time of recording, we just went through a pretty sizable, drop in Ethereum from about $3,400 down to $2,100. And if I'm looking at it from just a bird's eye view here, we have a high, we put in a low. I would imagine that this was a golden pocket retracement that once again would trigger a continuation to the downside. Let's take a look with our Fibonacci retracement tool. Let's pull it from this high to our swing low here, and then we'll drag this right over. And indeed, once again, a drawdown here, golden pocket retracement, continuation to the downside. I hope you all enjoyed this, brief overview of the golden pocket and Fibonacci retracement tool, which is truly a staple in, at least my day-to-day as far as my analysis would go. I know that many other traders and analysts do use the Fibonacci tool on the regular basis as well. And going forward, you will see this brought up many, many times on my charts. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give us a like and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any other educational pieces such as this in the future. I hope you all have a great remainder of your day, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Until the next time, everybody, cheers.